Jack here, owner of Hockey Alley, bringing you back hockey history. Today I got game-worn jersey expert Milton Byron. How are you, Milt?
How you doing, Jack? Nice
Good.
to meet you.
Nice to
Or
meet
nice
you.
to meet you. Yeah, nice to talk to you. I've known you for a while, but nice to talk to you.
Yeah, same here. It's been a long time, but I remember a lot of 1990s game jerseys that you sold and you authenticated over the years. It was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And how long have you been doing the game worn jerseys, authentication, and dealing with jerseys?
Well, I started as a collector in the early 80s, and then right away, because of my police background, all of a sudden I became the expert. People would ask me about them, and then, I developed into, being the expert using my police training into investigating, what is the jersey? Is it game worn? Is it not? Using the types of evidence that I was, taught in police work, and actually was able to transfer that into, game worn jerseys. So I'd say that I started buying from the teams in 83, 82, 83, 83, 84. And so I've been around that long.
Wow. And so, do you only authenticate and expertise is in hockey, or is it in all sports?
No, God, no. Anybody that does all four sports, in my opinion, is crazy, because I know what it takes to be an expert in hockey, and to be an expert in all four sports, they're only fooling themselves and anybody else that goes to them for an authentication.
Yeah. And
I don't think you should be. I don't think you should. I think you should just pick one and be the expert in that area. Because there's just, Jack, there's just way too many things to know and look for. And sure, I can take a football jersey and tell you if I think it was worn or not, but that's about the only thing I could tell you. I don't know particulars about stitching or nameplates or patches or players or anything else. And I think that you're giving a disservice to the customer or the collector, when you try to be an authenticator and everything.
Yes. And as far as knowing your hockey history, you must know your hockey history in order to authenticate. Would you say that's the case with the patches?
Well, I think that that's an important part of it. I think that, for me, I was a fan and a collector since I was in high school, and I played it. And so it was, kind of easy for me, because I look back at the old stuff from the 50s and 60s, and, so yeah, knowing hockey history is certainly important. But there back then there were only research material, books and magazines and newspaper articles and stuff to look for. Now you have the internet, so it makes it relatively easy to learn the history pretty quickly. Where you and I, we had to drag our knuckles on the ground and find things to authenticate or look at about hockey.
Yes. How many, I want to ask you, so how many trainers have you dealt with over the years, approximately? Because that's something I wanted to know.
Well, on our mailing list of customers back in the 80s, we had 25,000 people.
Wow.
So there was that many people on our mailing list. Now, sometimes it's a one-time purchase, sometimes it's a long-term collector. So sometimes it's a fan, sometimes it's a collector. There's two different things. Actually, a fan is the guy that buys the jersey, and when you go to a hockey game, you see a jersey. Even if you bought a replica jersey, you see a player on a guy's back that hasn't played for the team in 20 years. That's a fan. He bought the jersey, he's happy with it, and it's his. Yeah. Whereas a collector, he'll wear a different jersey every game, or you know what I mean. That's kind of what a collector is.
Yeah, and
so there are a lot of collectors out there for sure.
Yeah, the difference between the NHL and then say basketball or football is that the NHL has a fight straps on the back. When did you first see fight straps on back of jerseys?
Well, they've been using a tie down or a fight strap or some sort of thing back there. Even back into the 50s, they would they would put a quarter in the back of the jersey and tie it with a skate lace. So they've been around a long time, and it wasn't until the manufacturers and the teams wanted to have something put in there, and where you actually had some type of a lace in there or some type of a strap in there, and then ultimately what CCM and Sandow and Maska did is put a nice strap in there.
What year was the first ones that you saw that the companies did it?
Well, CCM didn't come in until the 80s. So before that it was Maska and Sandow and Rawlings and General, and so it was in the 70s that they started putting things in there.
Okay, so it's been a while. I mean,
yeah, oh yeah.
I played juniors in Canada, and we didn't have fight straps, and in the tier 2 leagues, so we used to put the the loonie coin and the skate lace. We did that too. So that's why I was laughing, because that brings back memories.
Oh yeah.
I might make a video and show how it's done, because a lot of people don't know how they do it. So I might make a video for that.
Well, interesting enough, if you find an old jersey, you find an old coin.
Yeah, it's true. A silver coin maybe too. Yeah. Which teams did you deal with the most in the NHL?
The top team that I dealt with was the Philadelphia Flyers. I became very good friends with Sudsy Suttlemeyer, the trainer, and Turk Evers, but I dealt with a lot of the other teams in one way or another over time. Like the Bruins, the Blues, the Capitals, the Whalers. I mean, just the LA Kings. I bought from just about every NHL team, as well as minor league teams over time.
Yeah, wow. And there was what's the most expensive jersey you've ever dealt with or held in your possession?
Well, I like to say that I had both the '99 Indianapolis Racer Gretzky's.
Wow, you had the.
I had that. I had both of them. I actually sold them on two different occasions.
Wow.
Those
are the rare ones.
So there probably would be, if I had them back now, the most expensive ones I've had. But I've had Bobby Hulls, I've had Bobby Ures, Jean Beliveau, Maurice Richard.
Wow.
There really isn't Gordie Howe. There really isn't a superstar from the '70s up that I haven't seen or had dealings with.
Wow. And to people out there don't know that Wayne Gretzky played in the WHA for Indianapolis Racers when he was 17 years old. So that's the jerseys that Milt's talking about, the home and away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. They were the '99 ones. He also wore, I think it was 12 or another number 2.
Yeah. And then they switched to 99. Yeah. So that was the first time he wore 99.
I think the number 12 was worn. Some people say that it was only used in photo shoots, but I definitely had the Racer ones, 99s.
Yeah. Wow. And I've heard a lot of, jerseys being altered and faked. And I heard a story about the Ray Bourque jersey. What happened there? It was a Ray Bourque jersey.
It's not just necessarily Ray Bourque, but it started. It didn't actually start with Ray Bourque, but interestingly enough, Ray Bourque is probably the most faked jersey that's out there. Besides, Gretzky kind of caught up to it, but a company that was making the jerseys called Custom Crafted. The guy was actually faking the jerseys and then selling them to collectors out the back door. Wow. And what he would do is he would put fake wear on them. Specifically about the Ray Bourque that you're talking about, the goalposts in Boston Garden, along with the dasher boards, were painted a specific color red. Mm-hmm. So I always said to collectors, "Is there red on the jersey? Is there red on the do you see?" And a lot of times they would say, "Yeah." Well, what this Custom Crafted would do is they would use kind of a lipstick pencil or something to put the red on the jerseys that he was faking. And but it was a different color, and right away I could tell the difference.
Yeah.
And I knew that he was doing that because I caught him doing it, and I proved that he was doing it. And then I was actually on Judge Wapner Court TV, where a collector had bought from another collector one of those jerseys, and they actually brought in Andy Moog, the player whose jersey it was, and my side won. The collector who got screwed won the case on Judge Wapner.
Wow. I wonder if we could find that on. It'd be interesting to watch that. I wonder if it's on YouTube or not.
But one of the other things what I did was when the Boston Garden had their auction, I went in and I had been in dealing with the Bruins, myself and another collector named John Pizzulo. I would take him with me when I was going to buy the jerseys and stuff at the end of the season, and we would walk around at the inside of Boston Garden, in the training room, down in the tunnels, and we would look for that red that was the wrong red, and we could never find anything but the right red. So that was one of the ways that I knew this guy was dirty.
That's crazy. It's a lot. It's scary because you want to buy a jersey and you think it's real. Sometimes this stuff happens and it's scary with a lot of money.
Yeah, and what I tell people is that you have to do the homework. I don't care if it comes from Milton Byron. That's me. You got to do your homework because I could make a mistake. I'm not perfect, and so you have to really make sure that you do the research. You look for photos. You try to photo match your jersey. What I came up with years ago was looking at hockey cards and matching the jerseys that I had in my inventory. And then it became looking at pictures, and then it became looking at videos. So in today's world, that's what collectors do, is they call it photo matching a jersey.
Mm-hmm. And it
and
gives
that's
more
what
value.
you have to do. You have to do those things. You have to realize that before you try to figure out what year it's from or anything, you have to look at the jersey and check the wear. The jersey will tell you if it's game worn or not, before you ever worry about what patches on it, what set it was worn, what year it was worn. You look at that jersey, and that jersey will give you physical evidence to tell you that somebody wore that in a game. Go back to the fight strap thing.
Yes.
The fight straps, what I learned from using my police background and the fact that I live on the East Coast in New Jersey. Well, my father's boat had snaps to the awning for the boat.
Yes.
And they were always green and crusty white. And that's from the salt water. Well, then when I started doing my research on hockey jerseys, I looked at the fight strap, and guess what's in there? It's green and crusty white. Well, that's salt. And so I went, well, where does salt come from on a hockey player? Well, he sweats.
Yeah.
We're humans. We sweat salt. So, thus, there's salt on the fight strap.
That's how you know.
So that's one of the things that I look for in authenticating a jersey.
Wow.
So I don't know. Had I not lived on the East Coast, I don't know if people would look in there and say that was salt. I don't know. I'm sure somebody would have figured it out, but I did.
Well, the reason I brought you on to talk to you, because you're the best in the business.
But and see, that's the thing that I say is that, I only trust myself. People over the years would come to a sports show and hand me a jersey and hand me a letter of authenticity. I'd hand the letter back. I don't need to know where it came from. I don't really care at this point. Yeah. Because I only trust myself, and if you're asking me, I don't really care what's on that piece of paper. Yeah. Well, and that's another great story. Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons why I really never wanted to write letters of authenticity, because they're really easy to fake. And, the collector gets lulled into a false sense of security because there's a letter of authenticity with it. Well, a letter of authenticity is not part of my authentication process at all. I'll look at it later and go, okay, that's nice. That's yeah, okay. It comes from there. Okay, I see that. But and that's the same thing with like any kind of tagging that's put in the jersey. You can always copy it. My Gray's tags were copied. Set tags from any of the teams that are put in there. Don't get lulled into a false sense of security because there's a tag in the jersey. Look at the jersey. The jersey will tell you if it's real or not. Do your homework. Look at pictures. Look at cards. Look at video. See if you can find the giant slash mark that's across the front of the jersey, or the big stain that's on a jersey. And a lot of times the big stain is my key that it's fake because teams tailor that out. They wash the jersey. They don't leave them in there.
No.
Same thing with blood. They have to, by NHL mandate, they have to tailor the blood out.
Yeah.
So, the guy's telling me, oh, it's full of blood. Yeah, okay, let me see the jersey.
I remember one year, Theoren Fleury had blood on his jersey, and he went to a fan, and because he had to take the jersey off, so he went to a fan and wore one of the fans' jerseys with number 14, but then the referees made him take it off.
Yeah, well, that happened too. One time, I was just got back on a Sunday afternoon from doing a hockey show somewhere, and Flyers trainer Turk called me. He said, "Hey, Milt, do you have a St. Louis Blue jersey?" Brett Hull, I said, not right now. I don't. Why? What's the matter? Well, Brett Hull's jersey got stolen during after morning skate at the Spectrum, and they needed a jersey for him to wear that night. So I contacted my friend that worked for Scoreboard, Phil Spector, and because they were selling replica St. Louis jerseys that were autographed. And so I contacted Phil, and he went down to see Turk, gave the jersey to Turk. Turk tailored the autograph out of the jersey, and Brett Hull wore it for the game. Wow. After the game, he met my friend Phil and signed it to Phil. This is my game jersey. Thanks a lot.
How cool is that? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't understand that the referee might have made him take it off if it happened during the game, but that happened before the game, and I was part of it. It actually ended up getting on our local news channel in Philadelphia, and it was big news here.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, my buddy was at his 15 minutes of fame.
That's cool. I never knew about that one. Wow.
Oh, there's plenty of them.
Yeah. I want to ask you, is a photo match good enough without letter authenticity for any collector out there trying to maybe hold on to their jersey or sell it? If they have a photo match, do they really need authenticity also or no?
If it's obviously the photo match has to be right because I've had people go, oh look, here's a photo match, and they go, yeah, no. But as long as it's a spot on solid photo match, you really don't need a letter.
You don't need a letter.
No, let's say that you go to the team store and you buy a jersey from the team store that was game worn. They'll give you they'll give you a letter like the Detroit Red Wings used to do. Uh-huh. But if you want to go out and do and get a photo match, that makes it more desirable later on when you want to sell it, because 9 times out of 10, a collector is going to sell their jerseys.
Yeah.
I over the years, nobody keeps anything forever. No. Eventually, it becomes available, and if it isn't you that's selling it, it's your family.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, if you found a jersey, let's say that had no letter of authenticity with it at all, and you found a solid a photo match to it, and nobody's going to complain about that.
No.
And matter of fact, I think that in today's world, in today's hockey world, I think that you'll find that collectors would rather have the photo match than the letter of authenticity, because unless it's coming from a noted auction house or me or something, you really don't know who's signing the letter. Yeah. I mean, just because Ken Dryden signs the letter for the Toronto Maple Leafs, did he even see the jersey he's saying is authentic?
Yeah. There's a no.
He never saw the jersey he's signing the letter for. So what good is that?
Yeah, it's true. What about
So
current jerseys?
never held any water to letters of authenticity.
Yeah, some of them they've been all. Yeah, I've seen some fake ones in other, with cards and stuff. Like they send a thing
Yeah,
with it. What about
yeah.
current jerseys from the past? Is there more value with the current players of today than in the past, or has the market watered down?
No, a jersey is going to always hold its value. It's game worn. First off, the second off, there's only six of them. Let's say from a player back in the 80s or 90s, not like today where they wear a lot more. But even if there's 20 or 25, when you think about that in the overall scheme of collecting, think about how many cards they print, or think about how many photos they take, or think how many other things that are made for a player. When you think about only 20 or only six, that's a very rare collectible. So a game worn jersey is extremely rare. And so I don't think that the values ever go down. It can only go up, and the only reason why it would go down is if a collector or owner of the jersey sells it for less than he paid for it.
Got it.
There's always going to be the retail market. So if you buy something that's $200 cheaper than retail market, you got a good deal. It doesn't mean that that jersey is worth $200 less. It means that you got a good deal, and it's worth the $200 more price tag that we believe the retail is.
Yeah. Is there any interesting stories the fans have not heard of with jerseys?
Well, I know that you mentioned to me the other day about cutting up jerseys and putting them in cards.
Yes.
Well, I think that's a travesty. I think that is. I've been against it forever, and I can tell you a story that I was at the National Sports Convention in Anaheim, California.
Yes.
And I'm setting up selling my hockey jerseys, and all of a sudden here comes these suit guys up to my table. And I always worried about that. Guys wearing suits coming to my table. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. And anyway, so they were executives from Upper Deck, and what they showed me was a football card, Dan Marino football card that had a little swatch of jersey on it.
Yes. And
they said, "Here, look what we're doing. We want you to be our spokesman for hockey jerseys." I'm like, "Well, what is this?" It's a game worn Dan Marino jersey. I said, "No, it's not. It's a square jersey." He said, "Oh, no, we authenticated. We cut it up. We got his jersey. We cut it up and we put it in." I said, "Okay, so wait a minute. You want to take my jersey from my inventory or from my sport and put it into your cards that you can't sell because you've overproduced them?" They didn't like that too much.
No.
So then I said, "Well, wait a minute." I said, your process is how? You're going to take me to your factory. You're going to let me watch the jerseys get cut up, and you're going to let me watch them being put in the cards. Yeah, that's what'll happen. I said, "And what happens when I leave? How many jerseys do you cut up after I leave?"
Yeah.
Well, that would never happen. I said, "Well, did you ever see the Wayne Gretzky rookie card that's got basketball on the back? Do you want to know how that happened?" I know how that happened because I got that card from a kid's whose father worked for Topps Baseball Card Company in Philadelphia. His father and his friends would run cards during the midnight shift.
Oh.
And so they screwed up these cards one night, and these cards came out with hockey on the front, basketball on the back. So I'm sorry, but I can't be involved in your program. It was probably a bad career move.
Yeah.
I probably lost hundreds of thousands of dollars not being on every box of hockey cards, but I wouldn't do it.
No, it's just like
destroying I don't think they're worth anything more than what the card is supposed to be worth in the card industry. I don't think it has any value in a game worn hobby.
Yeah, they're also cutting up goalie pads and
You're taking it's an atrocity. You're taking a piece of history Like I saw, Terry Sawchuk sticks and, Jacques Plante mask and, just crazy things. And I'm like, you're taking a piece of history away from anyone ever seeing that again.
Yeah.
And I don't even, and like I know that they had these jersey programs where teams would wear a jersey that this is the jersey that's going to get cut up. But even still, he wore it on the ice. I don't care if it was one period or one game or whatever.
Yeah.
It's still a piece of hockey history that you're now taking away from our industry, from the game-worn hockey jersey industry.
Yeah, you know what's crazy, Milt? I've seen on like eBay where the hockey card has a piece of a stick in it is worth more than the actual whole stick of the same player, which is crazy. Like
absolutely. And that's because, again, what did the card industry need? They needed a chase card. That's why they did it with autographs, and that's why they did it with game use stuff. Because they can't sell enough of their product, they need help from the rest of the industry to sell their cards.
Yeah. It's. I hate when I see it.
And I'm thinking, you know what else I hate about eBay? If you try to search for game worn.
Yes.
All you get is cards.
Yeah, that's true. I hate that. I don't look at those. I don't have any in my collection. None.
I don't even look any. I don't look anymore. But I know that when I have looked, that's what you get is you get those hockey cards. And those and the poor guys from Upper Deck they had their tails between their legs when they left my booth, and they've actually done. One of my good friends, Randy Hayes from California, he was standing there. He was standing there with me, and he's God as my witness, and that's my God right there, Randy Hayes. He was standing there and listening to the conversation because they denied it once. It did happen. I got no reason to lie.
Yeah, they don't want to. Yeah. It's a shame, and I do see the cards like I've seen them where the mesh looks different. It doesn't look like what you see the real game jerseys look like. They look like just a mesh with the holes in it, and that's not what the jersey looks like from the card.
No, I would never guess that. Yeah. No, Jack, they wouldn't do that. No, they wouldn't make a mistake.
No.
It would have been made on the midnight shift because their factory workers took the real cards. No, Jack, that wouldn't happen. Don't get my police spidey sense tingling.
One more story that the altering jerseys with the Wayne Gretzky. If you remember the 1987 Nike jerseys, they were, one guy was altering them.
I do. I actually was part of that debacle.
So you heard about that one?
Oh, absolutely. What happened was that the guy was buying common game worn Edmonton Oilers jerseys from Migrey or from wherever, and stripping them down and making them, and he was good, stripping them down and making them into Wayne Gretzky jerseys.
Wow. And
unfortunately, I saw one and I thought it was good. So did Barry. But then we realized that the guy had 12 of them. Wow. And I went, okay, there's something wrong here. I want to see these jerseys again. And so we looked at them again and came up with the idea that this was happening, and so we actually shut it down, and they were being, and the guy that did it originally, he sold them as what they were. He didn't sell them as real Wayne Gretzky jerseys. Oh. These boneheads from New York, and I'm going to call them boneheads because I know their names, but I don't. I'll tell you another story real quick after this one. They got caught with their hands in a cookie jar, and then what they did is that these same guys made a deal with Eli Manning to buy stuff from him, and the trainer from the New York Giants football team. And I actually testified on behalf of Eli Manning because they sued Eli Manning.
Oh.
And I came to court and I was deposed, and I shot their reputation full of holes. And they actually dropped their suit against Eli Manning.
Wow. I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, what somehow it was over. It was the trainer did something that they swore the helmet wasn't worn, that he gave them as game worn. They swear it wasn't ever worn, and okay, I've known trainers to do stuff like that. Yeah, okay, it could happen, but maybe it didn't, because my problem was that these guys were scumbags and they were criminal already. And so I said I don't necessarily, I don't believe them that they've proven that the helmet that they got from the trainer is wrong. I think these guys are enough criminals to try to get one over on the New York Giants and the trainer.
Yeah.
They didn't like me at all. They didn't like me at all, Jack.
I'm sure. I'm sure about that. What about the one last story was the. I want to talk to you about the Wayne Gretzky Liberty jersey. I heard that there was someone who was doing something with those. Did you hear about that one? The statue.
That one I don't know anything specifically about. I was not involved with, so I don't know anything because I was not asked about those or to help them.
But I heard something like the Nike jersey kind of was there was a lot of them, but then yeah.
I'm not aware of that one, Jack.
No, yeah. It's interesting. We learned a lot, and I want to thank you so much for coming on and talking to us, to the fans, the collectors out there. And Milt is the best in the business, and that's why I wanted to talk to Milt on my channel, bring back hockey history with jerseys.
Hey, that no problem, Jack. I'm on Facebook, Milton Byron. You can hit me up and ask me. I make myself available to collectors, even though I don't sell jerseys anymore. I retired from it, but I lend my knowledge and expertise to the collectors because I feel that I need to give back to the hobby that made me who I am.
That's nice of you. So it's Milton Byron. Is there like a page, or is it just your own
No,
Facebook?
that's just me, Milton Byron.
And they can message you. Anybody can message you, and they can
Sure.
talk to you. Okay,
All the time.
That's nice.
I do it all day long.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's great to know. Thank you,
Yeah.
Milt. I appreciate
No
you
problem.
coming on. It was awesome talking to you.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And you only scratched the iceberg of what's inside of my head.
Maybe I'll get you on for another episode, another segment.
Yeah, whatever you need, Jack.
got
I'm
it.
there for you.
Thank you, buddy. Have a great day.
All right, bud.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.